Now, the afternoon session is about to get underway here at the Ageas Bowl, which is great news when you consider there are storms around the country and that we might well get some more rain, but play is about to resume. We had that shower before lunch, the players going off at 62 for 1 after 23.4 overs. I think Pakistan will be very happy with what they've achieved in that pre-lunch session, because I think, I know we say on ifs and buts and everything, but on another day they could easily have been 50 for 4 at lunch. The ball has done something. England have dropped 2 catches. Abid Ali reprieved twice. He was reprieved at Old Trafford as well, and Ben Stokes dropped him in the second innings, but it didn't cost England too many that day. But he's battled away, as has battled his demons, that front foot being planted down the pitch and playing across him being LBW. Well, that hasn't happened. And so far, so good for this second wicket pair of Abid Ali and Azhar Ali. It's going to be Stuart Broad to continue, because he was in the middle of an over, and he's bowling from the pavilion end of the ground. The lights are still on, it's still overcast, but it is much brighter, and England will hope to make amends for some of the mistakes they made in that morning session, Tuffers.
Afternoon, everyone. Afternoon, Simon. Yeah, disappointing when it created the chances, got the edges. No one means to drop them, Simon. That's what they'll be saying.
Yeah, that's what you used to say to fielders who dropped them, didn't you?
I know. No one means to drop them, but they were pretty straightforward, weren't they? Yeah. And it just gives the opposition the opportunity just to build from that. And, and as a bowler, he's just thinking, oh, crikey, they could have been 60-odd for 3, And it just niggles you away. So England have got to stay patient after lunch. Right,
here we go then. Broad to bowl the first ball after lunch to Abid Ali. 3 slips are in. Broad goes in and bowls. And first ball goes past the outside edge of Abid's bat, and he sometimes withdraws the bat towards square leg. Not that time. He was committed to a tentative defensive prod, and it snaked past that outside edge. Wasn't far away from off stump either, and taken down low down by Buttler, who's doing some loosening up exercises. And I think to his left and right.
Yeah, and I think Pakistan will be delighted, because it has done a bit this morning. You say beautiful conditions, that muggy atmosphere, and there has been a bit of sideways movement, as we just saw from Broad after lunch there. And only to lose 1 wicket, happy days for Pakistan.
Broad goes in and bowls to Abid. That's a bit wider, and Abid lets it go. It's the end of the over. Broad was 4 balls into his over. So Azhar has 20, Abid has 33, and they have put on 56 so far for the 3rd wicket. We saw that first test here earlier in the summer, England-West Indies. It was a sort of morning where you look up, you think, oh, should we really be batting? And England thought the pitch was dry, so they did bat first. I know, Tuff, as you thought, England should have put West Indies into bat. Of course, it worked out for West Indies in the end, because they went on to win the match. I think both captains were very committed to batting first here, and I think generally you want to bat first. The stats say that, bat first here, but that doesn't mean to say that these conditions have not helped England to some extent this morning.
It has been helpful bowling conditions, and as you say, if chances had been taken, 3 or 4 might have fallen, and it's not the case.
Azhar gets his first ball after lunch. Anderson bowls to him outside the off stump. Azhar leans forward and lets it go. It was 85 miles an hour straight away from Jimmy Anderson.
And I think that there has been a bit of a trend nowadays. I mean, when I was playing, batting on the 4th day was very, very, very tricky. But I mean, we saw at Old Trafford to knock it off. We saw here West Indies knock it off. So, and especially here as well, it doesn't sort of disintegrate. It goes so much and then stops. Yeah. When an Old Trafford gets worse and worse and worse and worse, the more you play on it.
Anderson bowls. Azhar brushes this away across his front pad off the back foot towards Crawley, fielding at mid-wicket. There's no run.
I've never quite got that about pitches, actually. They sort of sometimes get to a level of disintegration, and then nothing particularly sort of happens any more than that.
We all get very excited when one spins on the first day. Exactly. You think, oh well, this game's going to get no chance in the final innings, whoever's batting last. But teams, they do manage to pull something out.
It's the up and down, isn't it?
Yeah,
that gets you. I mean, it's
Anderson to Azhar outside the off stump. Azhar lets it go, collected by Buttler. Yeah, that's a bit harder, isn't it? Up and down. When we talk about up and down, we mean the uneven banks. So some banks a bit more than you expect, and some keep a bit low. Mind you, we saw that at Old Trafford. I think that was the thing. It was the ball that got rid of Ollie Pope.
He got a couple. Yeah. Got a couple of absolute schnauters.
Yeah.
Really leapt at the sort of, playing forward. I mean, there was a great sort of thing on the telly. I was watching it. They push forward. He's pushed forward just to look to forward defence. Next thing you know, the hands are in front of the face. You're not playing that at 90 mile an hour.
Anderson bowls on leg stump. And Azza plays that quietly towards mid-wicket where it's picked up. And there is no run.
But I think, as you say, Pakistan will be bitterly disappointed because it was doing a bit. I mean, it was turning and bouncing. The odd one was sort of like keeping low. So it just makes that innings between those two fellas, Buttler and Rhodes, just even the better. I mean, it was a tricky pitch to bat on by the end.
Yeah. I think Pakistan, well, they clearly did, because as I said it, said we thought we had the game.
Yeah.
117 for 5. We thought the game was ours. Anderson bowls to Azzo, plays that straight to mid-wicket again, and there is no run.
It can do you as a bit of a bowling side, though, because you almost think, well, it will just happen. It will just happen. There will be one that just sort of takes off or spins and bounces and takes a glove. And usually, 7 or 8 times out of 10, it does happen. Yeah. But, on the odd occasion, if those ones that do keep a bit low or do bounce a little bit don't get the glove, batsmen are very good at just putting it one side and playing each ball on its merits.
Anderson bowls. Oh, that's a lovely swinging delivery. There's an appeal from Joe Root at first slip. Butler went away to his right to take it. Nothing from Anderson at all. It was a fine delivery. It was full and swung away. Almost too good, really.
Oh, I heard something in my earphones there.
Well, Root was the only one to appeal. No one else was interested by that. Anderson comes down to have a chat with Butler, as Butler makes his way to the far end at the end of the over. Let's have a look.
It was close.
Difficult to tell from that.
Yeah. Beautiful ball. Just went searching a bit there, didn't he? Try to draw him forward on the drive.
I mean, it moved away after
Seemed.
it went past the bat.
Seemed. Yeah, seemed. Little sort of shape and then hit the pitch and went even more. Yeah, they've got to stay patient here, England.
There's enough happening.
Yeah.
Broad bowls to Abid. He's very cautiously forward there, or half forward. Playing it up towards mid-on, where it's picked up by Anderson. And there's no run. Anderson working on the ball furiously. He's already got a huge
Here we go.
red... Oh, my goodness.
I thought I heard something. I thought I did.
Well, this is an interesting one. There are quite a lot of squiggles on that ultra edge, though. Is there a spike? Let's have a look. At the moment, we're seeing the ball about a foot from the bat, and then there are some squiggles. But then there are some squiggles after the ball has gone past as well. Broad moves in, bowls, and past the outside edge again of Abid Ali's bat. And we saw Abid this morning sort of nodding at the bowler. Yeah, well bowled. Nothing I can do about that. And I think it is sort of one of those days for top order batsmen, really. They just hope not to nick the good ones.
Yep.
And generally speaking, so far they haven't. Although in that previous over, it might well be that Hazar Ali did. And,
I know.
And only Root was interested.
Yeah.
Here's something though. If they had reviewed that,
That's out.
you're definitely giving that out.
Got to be out. If there's a squiggle as the ball passes the bat.
But there were sort of squiggles sort of after the ball had gone past the edge as well.
Doesn't matter. If there's a squiggle, you're gone, I think, Simon.
Right, here we go. Broad bowling to Abid, who angles that away, and this time gets runs down towards the third man boundary. The chase is on, Burns is after it. Looks like an unequal contest. Indeed it is. One of those frustrating ones that keeps two fielders interested. In fact, who was that? Is it Bess? Yeah, Bess running from backward point had to leap over the advertising board and stop himself before hitting the steel fence that separates the ground from the spectators, or the notional spectators anyway, from the seats. There's a nice bit of steeplechase work there.
Steeplechase, very
Bess.
good. Yeah. Steeplechase or hurdles, but yeah, a bit more steeplechase than me. Yeah, he didn't have good style for a hurdle. It was Alan Pascoe. Alan Pascoe was a hurdler, wasn't he? Of course, the Kenyans always win the steeplechase.
Do they?
Every year.
Right.
Every year.
66 for 1 with that boundary to Abid. Broad bowls. Abid turns into the onside. You get more runs here, probably 2. Pope is after it. No, just the single. Pope picks it up halfway to the boundary, sends in the return to Butler. It's one of those sort of in-betweens. 1 or 2, he possibly could have got 2, but too risky.
And it was funny, we were talking on Toughest of All last night about sort of Jimmy Anderson giving that interview about how he was a bit frustrated up at Old Trafford. And that's what happens when... Yeah, that's definitely nicked it.
We're just watching another replay.
Nicked it. how they haven't heard that behind the slips. What I say, apart from Root, who absolutely was up and running, no one else fancied it.
Now, Root saying, actually, well, perhaps it was bat flicking the pad.
No, the bat was miles away.
I know. Here is broad bowling, and Butler takes the ball that's outside the off stump, coming in with the angle down the leg side, if you see, outside the line of leg stump. It was a fine leave from Azhar.
Yeah, it does become frustrating the older you get as a cricketer. Because, as you say, Jimmy Anderson bowled beautifully up at Old Trafford, didn't he? Swung the ball away, play a miss, play a miss, play a miss. And when you're a youngster, you keep going, you think, it's going to change, it's going to change. But when you're a bit older, you just think, why don't you just get out? You know what I mean? I've beaten you past here. Why haven't you nicked that? It's difficult to keep yourself going.
Broad to Azhar. Azhar covers up. Crab-like defensive shot with the back leg out towards the off stump. Way outside off stump. Plays it to Anderson at mid-on, and there is no run. 67 for 1, so it's been hard going for Pakistan, but these two resisting. Abid Ali 38 and Azhar Ali on 20. Shan Masood, the man out. LBW to Anderson for 1.
He's had a funny 2 or 3 knocks, hasn't he? 150 odd, 0 and 1, or 1 and 1.
Well, yeah, that's batting at the top of the order. I mean, similar's happened to Dom Sibley, actually. It's been a feast or famine summer for him, largely. I thought he played well in the second innings at Old Trafford, really well. And then he got excited by that one that was flighted by Yasir Shah.
Yeah.
Nicked it to slip.
He's going to struggle a bit outside off stump, forcing shots to the spinner.
Abid Ali on strike. Umpire Goff just holding Anderson up for a moment because Abid had some gardening to do. Here is Anderson. Bright orange soles to his boots. Forward comes Abid, turning into the onside. A lot of action for Zach Crawley at mid-wicket at the moment. Anderson bowling quite straight.
Yeah, I like those soles. They're nice, aren't they?
Well, the orange ones.
Yeah, especially in a bit of gloomy light.
Yeah. They really show up,
doesn't they?
As Anderson kicks his heels up. He's wondering where the ball is at the moment. He's about to bowl, but there's no ball in his hand. It was still with Root at first slip.
I think he's become chief polisher, hasn't he, Root? No sweat, of course. No, you're allowed sweat, no saliva.
No saliva. Anderson past the umpire now up to the stumps bowls to Abid, who nibbles at that one. It goes through to the wicketkeeper, and then Abid just sort of leans his head to one side to say, I shouldn't have done that. I really shouldn't have done it.
You just get the feeling that if England can just manage to locate an edge or catch a catch, that there might be 2 or 3 knocking around in quick succession here.
Yeah, it's funny how some batsmen don't nick them, and then one comes in and the next couple they just start nicking them.
I know. Unbelievable.
67 for 1, Abid 38. Still overcast, still the lights on. Anderson bowls. Abid plays the line of his off stump there, and that was about on 5th stump, so that was a genuine leave.
Well, I've played in a few games when, you know, every time the side you're playing in, it plays forward, they nick them and they call, and it becomes a very quick game. You know, first, 10 deliveries that just did a little bit, all the boys seem to nick them, and then the opposite side comes out, playing misses, and it's like 78 plays 400, and it's just as simple as sometimes you nick them and sometimes you don't.
Anderson bowls, that's edged, controlled edge this time from Abid, down to third man, past third slip, and that's gone for 4 as well. That's even more frustrating for England. And the ball goes off that edge down and pick up 4. Abid to 42. And Pakistan to 71 for 1. And imagine being in the opposition side against Kent the other day.
Yes.
Where they made over 500 for 1.
Yeah.
And then rolled the opposition out for next to nothing.
Well, there you go. That's
win a match, win a full first-class match, losing only 1 wicket.
Yeah. I know, yes. That's a walloping.
20 wickets at one end, 1 at the other.
Yeah, but I'm sure they played and missed. It just, didn't happen.
Anderson bowls. Abid plays defensively into the onside. Anderson fields off his own bowling.
A bit like one-day cricket. One-day cricket sometimes. Played a couple, and if they hit the fielders, you get, 1 for 30 off a 10. Everyone goes well bowled. If it doesn't quite just hit the fielders or a couple of misfields, all of a sudden it can come none for 60. And you've bowled exactly the same. And you just think, well, hold on a minute, you know, what should I have done better there? Well, it's just sometimes it's the way it goes.
Yeah.
And that's where you've got to not get frustrated. And you've just got to, you know, believe that it's going to come your way.
Anderson's coming to the end of his 9th over, 1 for 19. That one outside the off stump. It stays at 1 for 19. He got rid of Shan Masood LBW earlier for 1. The only wicket that England have taken today. And in this tight struggle, Pakistan are continuing to make a little bit of progress. They're inching forward, 71 for 1. I mean, nothing flamboyant. I mean, very few flamboyant shots. In fact, nearly all the boundaries, I think, if not all of them, have come behind the wicket. There's been a few edges and a few glances and some 4-byes as well. It's hard to think of a shot driven down the ground for 4
No,
today.
not really, no. Well, it hasn't been that kind of pitch. As I say, England have bowled well. They've bowled well. There've been a few little loose ones down the leg side, I suppose. But they've generally got them pushing forward on that good length, and will be ruining the drop catches. They will be.
6 boundaries today, 2 to fine leg, 2 to third man, and a couple through the covers, but nothing straight.
No.
Broad bowls. Oh, very close to off stump. Azhar lets that go. Broad stand in the middle of the pitch with his hands on his head. Never one to eschew the theatrics. It was close to that off stump. Mike bounced over the top of it. Goodness me, that was a really fine leave. Oof, sing the replay on that.
Yeah. Yeah, stay patient, the bowlers.
They're causing as many problems now as they were
Yeah.
when they first started off this morning. Broad, bounding in, bowls to Azhar. That one swings a long way after it had gone past the stumps, and Butler did well to stop that. I thought that was going to be another 4-byes. Dived away to his right, stuck his paw out, and the ball ended up in it. Went a long way, big swing after it went past the stumps.
Ouch, that hurts as well when it doesn't go clean in the palm. It's hitting fingers, and on the end of the fingers, his hands will be stinging this evening.
He adjusts his right pad and bends down. Broad sets off again with those 3 slips in. Bowls to Azhar, lets it go again. That was quite close to off stump. Azhar's lining it up well. He's been in for a lot of criticism in the last few days after Old Trafford. No runs and losing a match that everyone in Pakistan, and I think quite a few people in the UK as well, expected Pakistan to win. He's a novice captain though, despite his experience. This is his 80th Test match. He's not captained many games. Here is Broad bowling, and Azhar lets that one go outside the off stump. More decisive leave, really more convincing leave. The ball's a bit further over. Yeah, there's some sort of feeling already that he can't turn this tour around. It's time to go. What is this, his 8th Test as captain, Andy, or his 7th Test as captain? He's not won a game outside of Asia.
Could be in the wings.
Well, that's a good question. This is Broad. Bowling to Azhar, struck on the pad high up. An apologetic appeal really from the slit cordon route there. Nothing from Broad at all.
All very well and good saying, you know, having a go at someone, but, you know, well, who else is there to do it?
This is his 8th Test as captain. He had one in November 2016, and then he's been sort of full-time captain since November of last year.
And he's 34 years of age. Very experienced cricketer, but things sort of got away from him on that final day. Broad bowls to Azhar, who drives thick inside edge, goes to forward square leg. And as Mahmood was saying earlier, that when it goes there, you know he's falling over. You know that that technical fault that he's got is coming into play. Broad was anticipating a big LBW shout, but he got enough of the bat on it. It was one of those. If he missed that, absolutely plumb. But and that's how he got out at Old Trafford.
Yeah, but then that is his game. He's not going to then kind of. It's a bit like a Dom Sibley. He's not going to change the way he plays, and so he's almost made a sort of a mental, sort of like a sort of sum in his head. Well, that's the way I play, and I can get hundreds, and I bat pretty well like that. I'm going to miss the odd one early on and get LBW, but I reckon instead of completely dismantling my batting style and sort of ethos,
Yeah.
you know, I may as well just, you know, obviously try to play a bit straighter when I'm in. But, I mean, you can't take that shot away from him because he'd probably score 60-70% of his runs through that side.
Also, as well, if you play on pitches in the subcontinent,
Exactly.
you don't miss those so
No.
much. Whereas in England, New Zealand,
And then it becomes
Australia, a bit nips a bit.
and then it becomes very, very difficult to then actually try and get him out.
Yeah.
Because if you go, well, hold on a minute, you know, he keeps hitting me through mid-wicket, and the old skipper sitting there with his hands on his hips going, bowl it wide. Well, I am bowling it wide of off stump. Difficult.
New over from Anderson, bowls to Abid, and Abid plays that initially, then takes the bat inside the line.
It's been a couple of years since Azhar Ali had good form in Test cricket, since the start of the UK tour, the British Isles tour in 2018, when they played 1 Test against Ireland and 2 against England. He's averaged 26 in 18 Tests, including this one. Prior to that, in his previous 27 Tests, he'd averaged 57, so quite a significant drop-off over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
The old captaincy might be weighing heavy on him.
Anderson bowls to
Oh.
Abid, and Abid comes stabbing forward and misses it by a long way, which makes me think he might have been playing the line of off stump there rather than playing the ball.
Yeah, that's all you can do, really. You know, I mean, if that is, as you say, slightly swinging late and going off the pitch, I mean, that's actually gone like a leg break off the pitch. All you got to do is just play the line, cover your off stump, and hopefully you miss it.
Which is what he did. Butler took it. 71 for 1. Abid on 42. Anderson bowls to him. Straighter. Abid plays to mid-on, where it's picked up by Stuart Broad.
I suppose it's a bit like sort of parking on yellow lines, you know. Sometimes you get away with it, sometimes you don't. Not that you should do out there, anyone who's listening, park on yellow line.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
There's not always a traffic warden around.
No, that's right. Sometimes.
And you can get the task that you come
Exactly.
to do completed before they do come along. Anderson bowls, turned away by Abid to mid-wicket, picked up by Crawley. And there is no run. So Pakistan since lunch have scored 9 runs in 20 minutes, and 2 of those have been edges for 4.
Yeah.
So Broad and Anderson have been on it, probing away. Anderson's come over to Broad to have a chat.
Yeah.
Broad fielding at mid-on.
They've done well. They've done well because, you know, they could have been 4 or 5 down easy here, Pakistan. Having won the toss and decided to have a knock. You've just got to weigh up, and you've got to be mentally tough as a batsman.
Anderson tries again. Turned away towards Crawley at square leg, who dives to save it away to his right-hand side, but not before nipped through for a single. Has been a feature of Pakistan's cricket in this Test series so far, what we've seen of it, 4 and a bit days. They tried to be positive between the wickets.
And you usually seem to have a little bit more luck when you bat first for some reason. I don't know why. But it always seemed to me the case when I played.
Anderson taking a long time here to shine the ball. Bending down, rubbing it on his trousers, and then takes some sweat off his forehead, rubs it on the ball, rubs it on the ball on the trousers again. Working hard. Moves in to bowl to Abid, who plays that firmly up to mid-on. There is no run. It is the end of Anderson's over. 10 overs, 1 for 20. And Pakistan are 72 for 1.
Funny old thing, luck, isn't it?
Well, you could make a whole programme on that.
I know.
You could have a whole rain break.
Some people seem to just have it. Don't know what it is. Someone could write in and tell me where to find some, even though I think I've been pretty lucky. Yeah. But it does help. They say that you can be lucky football managers, can't you? You know what I mean? Always a lucky football manager or something. It always gives you a hand, but I suppose it always comes round and sorts itself out. That's what you'd like to think.
New over, Broad bowls to Abid Ali. He plays the inner part of the bat there into the onside, shoveling it out towards forward square leg off the back foot. And it's picked up by Pope. Does luck even itself out? I'm not sure it does, you know.
Don't you know?
No,
Don't you
I
think?
don't think it evens yourself out.
Or is this just your pessimistic view?
Well, no, I mean, why should it?
No, exactly, because it doesn't exist.
Exactly.
Yes, but I think it does. I don't know. Like if a bid goes on to score 100, he's going to go, drop twice. It absolutely matters not.
Broad bowls. Abid comes forward, plays it to cover, and there's no run. Of course, Shan Masood, you mentioned him. His scores since his 100, naught and 1.
Yeah.
Of course, he was dropped twice on 40, well, missed twice on 45.
There you go.
And Andy looks who wants to contribute to this
I
debate.
don't know what the New Zealand team would say about luck evening itself out after the World Cup final.
Well, yes.
Not the most even of luck breaks.
No, that's right. I mean, and most sport does have huge chunks of it, doesn't it?
Broad bowls, edge past third slip along the ground down to the boundary of 4. That was a genuine edge. It wasn't a controlled edge. England did not have a fourth slip in. It might well have been the catch low to a fourth slip fielder. And no chance for Sibley. Burns had to run back to the boundary to collect the ball.
Yeah, seamed again. Perfect line. Just good length outside that off stump. Decided to take the drive on and just seamed away. Yeah, surprised that went there, actually. That should have gone to third slip and nice catchable height.
It would have been a low one to a fourth slip. Might have been upstairs to the third umpire to see whether it carried or not. 76 for 1. And so we've had 3-4 since lunch, and all have been to third man.
Talking of luck.
Abid goes to 47, though.
Yeah. Doing a good job.
Well, the thing is, once you have that good fortune, you really rub it in. That's the key to it. Broad bowls. Abid struck on the pad there, goes towards square leg, and there's no run. And you can be sure that Burns and Sibley at second and third slip would be every run he scores. It's painful, isn't it, for the person who's dropped you. And Josh Butler, I mean, he said, it's horrible watching Shan Masood go from 45 to 150 odd, is it? So actually, Butler, was he actually in credit for that match or not, even though he played a match-winning innings? Mind you, what he did do by dropping him, he set up a brilliant game of cricket, didn't he?
Yeah.
It was all part of the plan.
The grand scheme.
76 for 1. Broad. Bowls. Abid tries to flick that away and gets it down behind square on the onside. Curran runs round to his right to pick up on the fine leg boundary, and they are through for 2 runs. Might have come off the glove there. Not a particularly convincing stroke from Abid, looking to again shovel it into the leg side. From a ball that was short of a length. Off the glove. Carl Searles emails, hope the groundsmen are ready. Heavy rain and thunder in Ferndown, which is only 20 miles away.
It all depends which way the clouds are coming.
Yeah. Well, it's bright. Away to our left as we look at it, it's lovely and bright. Away to our right, it's dark.
Does it usually travel here from Ferndown? That's what we need to know.
Yeah, exactly. Lacking information. Broad to Abid. Abid comes quietly forward, plays it towards mid-on, sets off for a single and then says no. And just as well that Azza didn't respond there, because the throw from Anderson to the stumps took the bails off, and I don't even think Abid would have got halfway down. So nearly confusion. They're trying to run those short singles, and just as well they didn't go for it there. 78 for 1, Azza 20, Abid 49, more from you Tuffers, and then Jonathan.
And we're just talking about a bit of good fortune as well. I think Azhar Ali played one off of Wokes and it rolled back and hit the stumps pretty hard, didn't it?
That was in the 12th over.
Yeah.
Azhar was on 7 at the time. The 2 drops of Abid Ali, he was on 1 and 21.
Yeah, so England not having the rub of the green this morning, and that's where you've got to stay strong. You've got to keep encouraging. But when the ball slams into the stumps and the bells don't pop off, sometimes you think it might be your day, Aggers, old boy.
Indeed, Tubbs. Lovely to see you. The floodlights on, still dark cloud around, and Anderson on his way to bowl to Pakistan's captain Azhar Ali. That's a nice one to clip away, but he picked out the fielder there at mid-wicket, who is Crawley. And there's no run, 78 for 1. And talking of natural phenomena, as you were about thunderstorms, did you feel the earth move this morning or not? Did you not?
No.
Oh, well, there's an earthquake
What? Where? What?
just off the coast of Eastbourne, just down the road.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is everyone all right?
3 on the Richter scale, apparently.
Wow.
Yeah, under the channel. So I must admit, I thought I've had a bit of a...
I was involved in an earthquake in Jamaica.
Well, a proper one.
Yeah, 7.9 on the Richter scale. Yeah.
Right. Anderson bowls short and he's up on his toes, playing that down to Gully. Well fielded there, scrambling stop from Pope.
Yeah, it was just up. It was about 20 miles off the coast of Jamaica when I was there last winter.
Right.
And all sitting there having a bit of lunch with some friends of ours who's listening actually. Hello, Sean. And the old table, all the old wine glasses were falling off. We were going, crikey, what's happening? What's happening? Yeah, really quite disturbing.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a weird feeling.
Yeah, just as well I didn't have soup.
Very good. But anyway, I hope everyone's all right in the Eastbourne area,
Yeah.
because I just saw on my news.
Wow.
Yeah. 3 on the Richter scale. 78 for 1 here. And Anderson bowls on off stump, pushed away again by Azza. A good length ball on the off stump, fielded at cover.
Did you feel it?
No,
No.
I didn't actually.
No.
I think I was having breakfast. No, I was probably walking around the golf course actually, which is nice. Met some very nice golfers on there, one of whom has directed me to walk in the woods tomorrow up the top. Apparently you can go up there. Should be nice. You never know what you're going to find in the woods, do you, Tuffers? So that's my route tomorrow. 78 for 1. And, Anderson's ready to go again. Ready, the dark marks there of his footsteps. In he goes, bowls on off stump edge. Oh, it goes down though. It goes well in front of Sibley.
Sort of
Dances round in a circle.
He sort of chops down on it, doesn't he? Azza Ali. He sort of plays forward and then almost tries to knock it down.
Yeah.
If you see here, look at that shot there. He sort of extends the hands, goes get down instead of sort of pushing out upwards at it. He sort of chops it into the turf. Played that quite nicely.
Some brightness to the left. We want that to come over, because I think they're going to be all right then, aren't we?
Apparently something's going on in Ferndown.
Right. Anderson again runs in keenly, bowls. It's edge this time and taken.
Yes.
About time too. Taken by Burns at second slip, and I was watching at lunch. He came out and had some extra practice because he'd put that chance down, and this time he made no mistake. He's dropped one, but a bit of extra practice, and Burns has taken the catch. He's got a big smile on his face. And Azza Ali, well, it was a patient innings. He was hanging around for a while, that ever really looking quite in. He's just followed that again. It's got pretty high up the bat. That's a nice catch on Rory Burns, round about shin high maybe, to his right. And so England finally take their second wicket with Azza Ali out for 20 from 85 balls.
Yeah, well deserved. Well deserved England, well deserved Jimmy Anderson as well. You could see him getting more and more frustrated. He's bowled beautifully, as have England, all morning and afternoon after lunch as well. And yeah, a deserved breakthrough. And you just get the feeling, Aggers, that if the rain doesn't come, it could be a tricky little 40 minutes here for Pakistan, because they've ridden their luck a little bit. But it is doing it. It's swinging for James Anderson. It's moving off the pitch for Stuart Broad. Could be interesting. 20, 30 minutes here.
Yep, absolutely. Just look up. I was just making a note. You look up at the... It looks so threatening out there, doesn't it? I mean, there are shadows from the lights.
Yeah.
Very, very dark skies. The umpires are having a bit of a discussion here, actually. And I think Martin Goff there is brandishing, he's the taller of the two umpires, brandishing his hand, saying, well, I think it's going to go round. I'm sure that's what he's saying. It's going to go round behind us. So let's hope so. Oh, Henry Moran taking a photograph. That looks awful, coming up that's coming up behind, is it?
Oh, dear.
And that's lightning strike 4 miles away.
Oh, crikey.
Well, there's all sorts of alerts going off on his phone.
Right, OK. Well, you don't want to be standing out in the middle of a field if there's lightning about.
No, you don't. I think that might have been why they went off at before lunch, because there wasn't any really heavy rain falling. I thought that it might. Now suddenly it's brightened up again, and Babar Azam's appeared, and he's down there taking guard.
Well, with those 4 days, we have those 4 absolute sweltering days, didn't it? Usually there's there is a term for it, isn't it? You know, when it bubbles up from the heat and then...
Rain, Tuffers.
Well, no, I know it's called rain, but for the actual sort of the cloud formation that it makes, you know. when you've had a lot of hot weather and it then hits that and hits
Cumulonimbus.
Yeah, something like that. Well done.
Is it?
Yes.
Towering cumulonimbus, I think some of them are
There
called.
you go.
They're the big ones.
Yeah.
78 for 2. The ground staff are busy at the moment as Anderson runs in. It's Baba's first ball. He's forward to it. It's the thickish outside edge. He's urging his partner through. It's a misfield there, too. Rather a strange one. One of the sort of inexplicable ones by Curran at extra cover. It doesn't cost England anything. He was able to recover himself, but it's the...
Oh.
That's a long rumble.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Does the length of
Yes,
the time of the rumble mean anything?
Yes, it does, especially with the lightning. When you see the lightning and then you count.
Oh, I know that bit.
Oh, and that's how
But,
far
but that
away
was a
it
very
is.
long. But it's the actual
Sorry,
rumble.
I thought-
It's the length of the rumble itself.
the
That was a
length
long
of-
one.
I don't know whether the length of the rumble means
Well,
anything.
I don't know because that was a spectacularly long one.
Yeah. Well, it might do. I don't know. So a little rumble, not quite far away.
Well, I
Big
don't
long
know.
rumble might be. Ooh,
But you can't. Was it a second?
angry,
Is it a second
angry
a
crowd.
mile?
Really angry crowd. Cloud.
When you count the distance, that's the. I don't know. Anyway, all I know is it was a very ominous sound.
It was.
And we've got Broad coming in now from the far end. Bowls the ball, keeps it a little bit low maybe. And Abid Ali, who's been hanging around, he's had a bit of an eventful morning. As Abid has dropped twice, he got a nasty one amidships, which needed some tending by the physio. And he's still hanging on in there, though.
Oh, I say, look behind us there, John. No, you're right.
Well, the sun's out as
Well,
well.
that-
It's all very strange.
Oh,
That looks horrendous.
It does.
It is behind us. So we can't... I don't know which direction it's going in, but Martin Goff definitely thinks it's going round the back.
yeah. Well, let's hope so.
I think we do hope so, looking at that. I'm not sure we'd play again.
No.
79 for 2. Here's Broad running towards all of that, towards us. And that's driven gently out to wide mid-off by Baba. But they are very careful about lightning and so on. Jamie Bedwell, thank you for providing the kind of commentary goes nicely in the background of the hospital podiatry clinic in Eastbourne. I have to say, this grade 3 earthquake, it passed me by without any knowledge. I'm just glad so I didn't have a scalpel blade in my hand at the time.
Oh, no.
Well, if it unnoticed in Eastbourne, there can't be much of a quake. There's Broad bowling, and that's driven away past cover, out towards the boundary. There it goes. It's pursued by Sibley, who's after that. Is it? No, hang on, who's that? There's someone else. It's Wokes, yes, is after it. And they come back for 3. So, nice shot that. Wokes is
Class.
smiling. 82 for 2. He's easily moved into it, isn't he?
Yeah, Bubba. Very good player.
Very fine player.
Yeah, he is. I reckon he's up there, isn't he? Got to
Yeah.
be up there in the top
Yeah.
4 or 5 in the world.
Yeah.
Just looks the part, doesn't he? Great balance. Picks up the length very, very quickly.
Good piece of field there, because I think he just managed to keep it inside the bound. He did, certainly.
With a high leg.
They're watching review. Yes, he did. He put his leg up, didn't he? It went over the boundary edge, so he didn't touch it while he was touching the ball. Now, we've got Crawley back at slip, so there's 4 slips.
Yeah, I like that.
Abid's on 49. A charmed life, although he might dispute that after the blow he took. And in comes Broad and bowls to him, and he's pushing away out to straight mid-off. And there's no run. He's on 49 and Root's in conversation with Butler. Eunice Khan again is making copious notes. He seems to log every ball. He's the batting coach. And he must get through a few notepads. He's up there sitting at the far end.
Yeah.
I think Henry's putting his camera up. He'll put the camera out the back, I think, see what's going on. Have a sort of a spy on the sky, as it were. 82 for 2. Broad runs in, bowls, pushed away off the front foot by Abid. He still can't find his 50th run. And Broad pounces on it.
Well, there isn't that chap here. They're not doing the old cherry picker anymore, do they?
No.
No, because usual Test match cricket. There was a chap up in the old cherry picker,
Well,
wasn't
it was
there?
actually. I think he might have been withdrawn now, might have been
Yes.
retracted.
Yeah.
Not to be up in that.
No.
The umpire still. In fact, everyone's looking up behind us. There's something really nasty about to happen, but it might just be slipping away.
might be.
A sort of quick view of it there. Broad again runs in with his lucky bandana on, drives that back, and there's no run. So still keeping to his bandana. Whether it is good luck or simply because of the length of his hair, I don't know. But I'm indebted to the photograph that I was sent, was showing. I was likening Joe Root earlier, was in the whole hairstyle to a young Kirk Douglas
Yes.
in a Viking film.
Yes.
Well, I was sent a photograph, which again is very good likeness, of Robbie Savage.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I mean,
That big blonde.
there was a likeness,
Yeah,
because
okay.
if you were to release Roots' hair from the Alice band, let it flow naturally, it would be. And that got me thinking: would you be happier being compared to Kirk Douglas or our old friend Robbie? I don't know. You must know Robbie pretty well, don't
Yes,
you?
I do know Robbie.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good man.
Off goes Anderson over the wicket, bowls to Babar Azam, who's squared up, runs away out to extra cover.
I'd probably say Kirk Douglas.
The satellite has gone down.
Oh,
The picture's
crikey.
gone down off the television.
Oh, right, okay.
So it must have been pointing into that Stygian gloom.
Yeah, something's going on. Oh, I don't like it when it's behind us. Don't like anything when it's behind you. You know what I mean?
No.
No.
Nor do I.
Keep looking over my shoulder.
Will you walk with me into the woods tomorrow? Just in case. You can help me out, can't you, Tuffers? 82 for 2. And in goes Anderson again, bowls, and it goes past the outside edge and into Butler's gloves. Now, that is not a good sign at all.
No. Oh, here. What's up here? Survey.
Well, the umpires at the moment are keeping going. Duncan Purvis, hello, the British Geographical Society, brackets the BGS, has refuted reports of the Eastbourne earthquake.
Have you been telling fibs, John?
No, it's on my news. It's not fake news. I think it was on the BBC site. Oh, perhaps it was. Anyway, suggesting another less dramatic weather event could have sent spurious signals. This is very serious. Anderson bowls, turned away one-handed, rather, across his pad by Babar Azam, and finds the man fielding at square leg. Davy Galloway of the BGS says, quotes, "We've not recorded any earthquakes this morning. It's probably some spurious signals. We've not had any signals on our equipment. Quotes, there has not been an earthquake." I mean, that's pretty, that seems quite straightforward from the BGS.
I mean, you would have thought it's quite straightforward whether there has or there hasn't.
I don't like the sign of spurious signals either.
No, what does that
Anderson
mean?
bowls, range the leg side, thinking about a single. It's not there. Abbott's not interested.
I mean, it's up for debate, isn't it, whether you've nicked it or you're not nicked it, or you're outside the line or you're not outside the line. But earthquake?
Well, I don't know, but you might get
One or the other.
you might get a spurious signal on the Snicko.
Oh, could do. Yeah. It's
So therefore, why would you not get a spurious signal on
okay.
your Richter scale reading
Yeah, fair enough.
meter thing?
Fair enough. Yeah. Okay.
Well, that's something we need to
Look into.
establish. I hate to tell people about an earthquake when there wasn't one. This is the next one. Babar coming forward, playing out to the bowler. Well, he'll explain why he didn't feel the earth move. Didn't he?
It's a biggie. It's quite a biggie, the old earthquake. Yeah.
We had one in our bedroom once, and actually it was funny enough. It was when the local news was going on, and I was lying in bed watching it, and literally I felt the whole sort of bed move.
Yeah.
And I thought, that's an earthquake. And a few minutes later, the Hogster, who lives not far away, put out on social media, I think there's been an earthquake. So it was true. Here's Anderson bowling, flicked away out through mid-wicket, and a chase for Bess, running out towards the deep mid-wicket boundary. And they're thinking about the third. Yep, they're going to have that third. As they're running towards this end, 85. No, the head ball was going against the wall. Definitely an earthquake. Babar on 7, Abid on 49. It's 85 for 2. 33 overs gone. For those just joining us, Ashan Masood was LBW for 1. And Azhar Ali caught finally the third chance given to the slip cord. Not by him. Abid Ali was the previous to, taken by Burns off Anderson for 20. And we're just a bit worried about the weather. The darkness has gone round to the side. I can just see it heaving into view now. Sam Curran's going to come on from the other end. And Isha Guha is about to come in here. Not sure if she felt the earthquake this morning or not. We'll find out. So, Curran's having a change of ends. Coming on from the far end. But if anyone's got any detail of whether there was actually an earthquake or not, it'd be quite interesting. It's definitely reported that there was. 85 for 2. And Curran, left arm over, change of ends, is coming in now, is there, and he bowls wide of the off stump. And it's allowed to pass through harmlessly through to the keeper, Butler, who just marks where he's going to stand there, scraping away at the ground, making sure everything's in order. 3 slips alongside him. Baba on 7. Abid Ali just lost the strike at the moment. He's trying to get this 50th run. He's up there on 49. Don't suppose he's too concerned about things, but he'd like to get the one to knock up his 50. 85 for 2. And Curran's on his way. Left arm over, bowls wide of the off stump. There's no stroke from Baba, who's looking watchful. Azhar Mahmood returns. I don't know what's happening with our weather, Azhar, I've no idea. But except I do think that a lot of that we saw was actually passed just behind us. I think we've been lucky.
Yeah, we've been very lucky, and Pakistan been very lucky this morning. A couple of chances to Abid Ali, and Azhar was nicked and didn't review from England.
Yes, that's true, yes. Here's Curran again, and he's there and he bowls, and has punched away back at him by Babar Azam. And fielded by Anderson coming round from mid-on, and Curran hitches up his shirt there. He's got his, it's quite unusual, he's got his top button of his shirt done up. And they make a nice contrasting photograph with, say, Dennis Lilly, who's come pounding in with his shirt buttons all the way almost down to his navel undone and chains swinging round. But Sam Curran, much tidier, more fastidious maybe.
Smart boy.
Yeah, but top button, you don't see many bowlers bowl with a top button done up. Up he comes once more over the wicket and bowls. A nice shot from Babar, feeling for it a little and guiding the ball away for Best to pick up at backward point. It's 85 for 2. A number of I think there's shorter collars, and I remarked this morning that Joe Root had his collar turned up. And so's Bess, actually. It's the old retro 1970s look when he saw Jeff Boycott batting in the 70s, always with the collar up. Tony Gregg,
Yeah,
collar always turned right up.
I used to do that. But
Did you?
Yeah, when it's really sunny and hot, you know,
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't want to get my neck to be burned.
No, we always thought he looked very cool in those days. Here's the next one, turned away out towards mid-wicket. And Babar. And there's no run, 85 for 2. Oh, I think they're making a run for it. Suddenly something's happened. And the wind's got up. I can see there the trees starting to blow to the right. And it was, I don't know what happened there, but the umpire suddenly spotted something.
And winning.
And they're running for it. They're absolutely running for their lives. This umpire Goff's on the way. The players actually suddenly slowed down a bit. But now, yes, there is rain falling. And the ground staff there, nice to see in this modern age of diversity. There are some grounds women there as well as grounds men. And they're helping to pull out this cover. Most are pulling, there's one fella pushing. And otherwise out it comes. And as usual, the chap there, the stump cam man, has got there first. He's pulling out the stumps, pulling out the wires. And this is quite heavy rain coming in now. And what alarms me is that the wind suddenly got up. And it's blowing what we thought had gone. I think it's blowing it back our way. So we need to keep an eye on. There's one or two of the Pakistani reserve team there. They're actually on the level above us, and they've gone round to the very end of the hotel, the last balcony, and peering there in the direction of where this is coming from. And well, the ground staff obviously didn't like the look of that, and nor did the umpires. So everyone has now left the field, and that, Azhar, is pretty heavy rain. It's not coming straight down. It's blowing a little bit, so it's not sort of a full force 10, as it were, in terms of rainfall, but it's not far off, and that's driving rain, and that's going to get wet out there very quickly now, because that is now starting to hammer down.
Yeah, it's quite heavy and wind is blowing. Maybe wind can take the clouds away from here. But I can see from my right, you know, it's a quite dark cloud coming into.
It's very dark. Doesn't look very nice at all. And it's very good news. Isha's arrived to take over the commentary at this slot. I seem to have got rather lucky this year. Whenever it's rained, we'd like to stick to the rota, like to be disciplined and don't go over anybody's time or anything. So the good news is that Isha's going to come in here, and she might be talking for some time. Looking at this coming down, doesn't look very good at all. So rain has stopped play, and there's a lot of rain, I think, building up there to our right-hand side, which is, I think, the north. If my geography's right, but it feels about right anyway. That's where the rain is coming from, and they're battling to get the sheets out and so on, the covers. On they go, and before I go, I need to say what the score is, but all the screens have removed it. And
It's 85 for 2. There's one ball remaining in the 34th over. Abid Ali 49, Babar Azam 7.
excellent. Well, Azhar, some thoughts on what you've seen, and then Isha's coming in.
Yeah, quite heavy rain coming down, and groundmen are doing their job to cover this ground and the pitch. Yeah, we saw some good cricket. Unfortunately, heavy rain is coming down. Yeah, one thing I noticed, Abid Ali, whenever he got 50, he make it count. And twice, he's new in the test match cricket, but every time he crosses 50, he end up getting 100. Hopefully he can get 100 and hold Pakistan cause.
Yeah, this is just his 5th test match. He had 109 not out against Sri Lanka in Rawalpindi in December on debut, and then 174 in the second innings of his 2nd test, also against Sri Lanka in Karachi.
Speaking of Sri Lanka, I actually feel like I'm in Sri Lanka. Firstly, with the humidity this morning outside, and the kind of muggy feel to the morning's proceedings, and now the torrential rain that's coming across the ground here at the Aegeus. Very, very dark grey clouds over to our right. And the lights are on here, covers are on, hovercraft on, and the ground staff working as quickly as they possibly can, but allowing themselves to get completely drenched here, Azhar.
Yeah, one thing you mentioned about Sri Lanka, humidity in this morning and then the heat and rain. But one thing you notice in Sri Lanka, you see every time rain comes down, and you can see millions of groundmen, bringing the cover, and they cover the whole pitch.
Yeah. Similar in India, actually. I've seen it quite a few times in Kolkata, especially, where you've got 30, 40 ground staff coming onto the field, and sheets are going on, and quite often that dries up pretty quickly, and so they're having to take it off, back on again, and but this looks pretty set in at the moment, so we'll just have to wait and see. For those just tuning in, Pakistan 85 for 2, having won the toss and electing to bat first. Again, Azhar Ali, the captain, calling correctly. Shan Masood was out to a brilliant delivery from James Anderson. A lot of talk about his age in the last test match. 38 years old, James Anderson, and many felt that he was just a little bit unlucky in that last test not to pick up a few more wickets than he did, but plenty of conversation around whether he should play in this test. He does, and it was just perfect execution of swing bowling. The conditions suited swing this morning, but it was the perfect delivery, shaping in, and came back into Shan Masood. So he was removed for 1, and the score was on 6. And then a partnership between Azhar Ali and Abid Ali of 77 before the Pakistan captain was dismissed after lunch. There were a few opportunities in that morning session, a couple of catches going down when Abid Ali was on 1 and 21. Both Dom Sibley and Rory Burns, the offenders in that case, with a rearranged slip cordon. No Ben Stokes, of course, for this game. And Abid Ali, when they do eventually manage to get out there, will resume on 49. Azhar Ali going to Anderson, caught by Burns. Good catch, low to his right, and he was out for 20. So Babar Azam will come out with Abid Ali when they can. It is looking very great. In fact, the rain has actually stopped, which is very good news, but it looks very ominous over to our right there, Azhar.
Yeah, hopefully, no more rain, and we can have some play today. You were talking about Jimmy Anderson and Azhar Ali. Jimmy, I think, got him 8th time in Test career, and how well he bowled this morning. It was excellent swing and seam bowling, and he was really good with his line and length. An excellent display, and people were talking about his age, and he was bowling at 87 miles per hour when the delivery he got Azhar Ali was 87 miles per hour. So he is going strong, and good sign for England.
2 for 24 from his 12 overs, James Anderson. Andy?
Yeah, the head-to-head between Anderson and Azhar Ali, he's now got him, as you say, 8 times. Azhar scored just 158 runs, averaging under 20 against Anderson. And Anderson now has 66 wickets against Pakistan at an average currently of 19.5. Only 10 England bowlers have taken 50 or more test wickets against a specific opposition at an average below 20. The most recent was Bob Willis, who had 60 New Zealanders out at an average of 18.8, and Fred Truman, 53 wickets against India, average 14.8. Jim Laker against Australia, 79 at 18.2. And before that, you have to go back to before the First World War, and the likes of Sydney Barnes against South Africa, and George Lohman against Australia. So Anderson's in fairly select company with over 50 wickets at an average under 20 against Pakistan.